Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. I think we can all agree that something has happened to Felix Auger-Aliassime. He has now won his first ATP title, the ATP 500 in Rotterdam, after 9 tries. He's lost 8 finals and now he finally managed to win the ATP 500 in Rotterdam after beating Tsitsipas in the final, and he also beat Rublev in the semi-final. He beat Murray before that. So this guy is going places for sure. He has unlocked something in his game, really climbed that up to a new level, I think, in his tennis. And why has he done that? And how has he managed to really play well in all the recent Grand Slams, starting with the Wimbledon? He reached the quarterfinals, US Open, he reached semifinals, and now in the Australian Open he had 2 sets up against Daniil Medvedev, but lost in 5 in the end. But it's really a solid progression, quite impressive stability in the big tournaments for Felix Auger-Aliassime. And he also won the ATP Cup for Team Canada, so he's really shown a massive strength improvement, I would say. He credits some of it to his work with Tony Nadal, you know, Rafael Nadal's uncle. Very good coach. I've actually played doubles with Tony Nadal at the Mercedes Cup a few years back. I was impressed just in the kind of 2 matches we played, how much tennis this guy seems to know, super friendly, easy to talk to. We had some coffee after the tennis as well. So really nice guy, and I can definitely see how we can bring some calm and some smart thinking in a talented guy like Auger-Aliassime. So much talent, so much power. It's just a question, is the heart and the mind there, and who can bring out the best of him? And it seems like Tony Nadal is doing a great job so far. So we'll see what's in store for Felix Auger-Aliassime. Who knows? Maybe world #1, maybe world #3. He's already in the top 10, so why not? Depends if he can kind of climb those final hurdles in the Grand Slams, but I think he has the potential to do so. He's only 21 years old. He's very solid on both wings. I think he's improved his serve massively. I could really tell when you watch the matches against Tsitsipas and Rublev how dominant he was in his own service games. Really great first serve, a lot of aces, and you need that to compete in the ATP these days. So impressive performance on serve. It also looked like the backhand was much better. He did struggle a bit more on the backhand. The forehand was always his main strength. Huge power on the forehand with his extremely whippy technique he has there, very compact, nice to watch. Sometimes he shanks the ball because he has massive racket head speed, but overall he's just a very impressive hitter on both wings, but the forehand has mainly been his weapon, and the backhand is improving. So potential seems quite endless for this guy. I think Auger-Aliassime, Sinner, Alcaraz are 3 guys we will see compete for the Grand Slam titles in a few years to come. They will still have to contend with Medvedev, Zverev, Tsitsipas for a while more, and Djokovic and Nadal. Of course, I'm riding off Federer a little bit. I think he's not retired yet, but it's not much left in the Fed tag, sadly. But that's just how I feel when you read and watch media. That's the feeling you get. But hopefully we can do one last hurrah, Federer. All right, so one thing we usually talk about on Tennis Nerd is what racket the pros use, and in Felix Auger-Aliassime's case, I've already done a video. I think the sound was pretty poor. There's not been much of an update in his racket specs as far as I understand, so we'll go through them again. Hopefully this video is a little bit more interesting than the previous video I did. But he's using an older version of the BABOLAT Pure Aero VS, and the big question here for me was, why are BABOLAT painting it to look like a Pure Aero? There's no Pure Aero VS in this paint job, so he's pretty much endorsing a racket that doesn't exist in that case, where they could just have handed him a new paint job of the Pure Aero VS, which is such a popular racket now with Alcaraz, Rune, and Ymer, and a few other guys using the Pure Aero VS. But why is he not endorsing that one? That would be more similar to his actual racket than the Pure Aero. I don't know if they want to have another top player using the Pure Aero now that Rafa uses his own paint job. No idea, but it's a bit strange of a decision, and they've been doing it for years. So we'll see now that the new Pure Aero comes out at the end of the year, I think it is, if he will endorse that one, or there will be a new Pure Aero VS that he will move over to. But it's a bit of a strange decision. I think he uses the one from 2017, Pure Aero VS, and he adds some weight to the racket like most pros, but his spec is not so heavy. He actually plays it relatively light. He needs some whip in the rackets, fast maneuverability because he swings so fast. So if you put too much weight on the racket, he's not going to be as explosive despite his technique and physicality. So 98 square inches this frame, 27 inches, nothing weird there. Weight, unstrung, that is. Usually when you add strings you get 15 to 20 grams extra. This one is 314 grams unstrung. Balance 32 centimeters, which is about 6 points headlight. So when you add strings, it's going to be 33 centimeters or 4 points headlight. And when you add strings to the weight, we're going to be around 332, 33 grams, depending on the string. He actually uses BABOLAT RPM Blast Rough. 1.30 gauge, it's the yellow version. They have several different colors. The yellow is the one that's probably the most lively. That's usually the case with different colors of strings. 51 pounds is his tension, or 23 kilos. So a pretty controlled setup overall, but makes a lot of sense for him. And swing weight is 308. This leads to strung specs of approximation, I haven't measured his strung racket, 333 grams, that's my guess, which is what a 1.30 gauge RPM Blast Rough set would add up to. Balance 4 points headlight, or 33 centimeters, and the swing weight 338, so close to Federer's swing weight of 340. Karatsev also uses a 340 swing weight. Fast, whippy players. Federer's racket is definitely a lot heavier, while Karatsev's and Aliassime's are a bit more whippy and fast in the way they go through the air. But we're seeing a reduction in swing weights and in racket weights overall with this younger generation. Obviously tennis is faster, they're more muscular, everything is about it is just more intense. So they need some extra help from the racket. And we're seeing them use bigger head sizes, 98 to 100 is the norm, and they're using a little bit lighter. Still heavier than what most club players should use, but definitely more maneuverable, and that's what a trend that I think will persist and probably be accelerated as tennis develops, and these players as well. All right, that's it about Felix Auger-Aliassime. What do you think of his future? Will he be a world number one? And what do you think of his game overall? Happy to see him actually get through that barrier of winning an ATP title. I mean, 8 lost finals, it can really put some mental scar tissue on you, but he seemed to get through that, and I think he will go from strength to strength now in 2022. That's all. I hope you found this video useful. If you want to support Tennis Nerd, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/tennisnerd, or use something from the links in the description. Those are my affiliates. If you buy anything using these links, I get a small commission at no extra cost to you. I only partner with products I believe in 100%. That's the whole thing. All right, that's it. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.